second question from the Parker Shores Village Board has to do with the signature of Columbia, which is Governor Warfield Parkway and the trees that line Governor Warfield Park. That's one of the things that I think of when I think of Columbia. And I wanted to ask you guys, will you initiate, support a law making Governor Warfield Parkway from Little Patuxent Parkway to Twin Rivers Road a scenic road, thereby prohibiting the removal of any trees in the median or along the sides of Governor Warfield Parkway? Mr. Dunbar?
Yes, I will support that type of legislation. I would like to conclude what I was stating earlier about the fact that under Mr. Ullman's, while he is the county council representative for District 4, the public process was short-circuited. And that's why we have the tower, 22 stories. The public was not granted the opportunity to follow through on the process. I want to preserve the trees. I'm opposed to development everywhere. I'm opposed to high-density development, which Mr. Ullman and Mr. Merton have consistently...
Thanks, Mr. Dunbar. Thank you very much. Mr. Ullman?
Yes, I think it's a great idea. And in fact, I'll introduce it, when's the pre-file deadline? 23rd, all right, we'll have it introduced for next month. We will add it to the list of scenic roads in this county. But, candidly, I was very disappointed that so many of those trees were torn down years ago when the townhouses were put in. But there's a more important issue as well. The Scenic Roads Act that the county has in place has no teeth in it. In fact, I introduced an amendment to that Scenic Roads Act just a few months, which passed, which actually strengthened the Scenic Roads Act after a developer whose plan was approved years before along Trotter Road ripped out all the trees along what I think is the most scenic part of Trotter Road. So we introduced a bill to actually give it some teeth. And so we're going to continue to work in that realm. We'll introduce the addition of Governor Warfield, and we'll continue to look at strengthening you as county executive. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
I certainly would favor such legislation. I just think the Scenic Road Acts across the United States, in each of the states, enhances the beauty and the landscape and the history of so many areas throughout the nation. I think it's healthy. I think it would enhance our stature, and I would favor, once again, such legislation.
I'd be happy to co-sponsor that legislation with Mr. Ullman. It gets to the larger issue about the impact that development has on our environment, not just the air that we breathe, but our general living environment. We need to think out of the box of different ways that we can help preserve some of the trees. I met with a company a few weeks ago, actually probably a few months ago right now, that has a technique of transplanting very large trees off of existing properties and replanting them. And we don't do enough of that, and mostly because of the cost. But that really has never stopped us before in county government making requirements to try making requirements to developers. The developers, it's true, developers are trying to get away with all they can, but that's what county government's role is, to put the rules in place so they can. So I think we need to think out of the box and think about ways that we can transplant some of these beautiful trees that take decades to grow.
Well, based on what's transpired, I guess my best move is to say that I pledge not to remove Governor Warfield. Which I, in fact, do. But I think it does get to two important points. And one, Mr. Ullman brought up, which is the Scenic Roads Act as it stands now is, it has a couple of teeth now with the buffer that's been put in, but it is a pretty toothless piece of legislation. And if you need any proof of that, I urge all of you to drive down Trotter Road, which is a scenic road with a piece of development there that has just really destroyed the aesthetics. And so we really do need to improve that. And the other issue that it brings up in the 10 seconds that I have left is we need to also, as we talk about downtown, understand the effects that that's going to have on the roads and the communities as you go out in concentric circles. That, so that means the effect on Governor Warfield, that means the effect on Twin Rivers Road, that means the effect on Hickory Ridge Road, and so forth and so on.
Thank you.
I concur with my esteemed colleagues, but having been in the county since 1960, there's a lot of roads that used to be scenic roads that aren't anymore. So I would support legislation that would continue to keep current roads that still have some scenic appeal to them, as such Governor Warfield Parkway, some other roads, Ten Oaks Road, Brighton Dam Road, a lot of the roads out in the western, more rural part of the county have degraded substantially in the 40-some years that I've been here. So I'd like to see more scenic roads.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to answer for my neighbors, since my homeowners association is the homeowners association right on that road. They will be very pleased to hear this. It's been something that's been talked about for a very long time. And it really does, it comes back to preserving our environment, preserving what we care about, watching carefully, and as each and every one of us in this room, paying attention to what's going on around us and constantly keeping in touch with our elected officials to alert them to the issues and the concerns about our environment that are out there that we see on a daily basis.
Thank you.
Of course, I would support that legislation and would certainly agree to it. I would also ask that my esteemed county councilman over there also add Little Patuxent Parkway down by the Symphony Woods and preserve that area as well. I'd like to find out why they didn't think about protecting Trottle Road before it was destroyed. Okay, it was a very gorgeous road to travel. And that opening that they left in there, I don't understand why they didn't think about requiring a smaller opening and saving more of the trees when they first started this process. They knew they were going to have to tear down trees. Again, you need good, honest leadership in this community. I'm hoping I am the one you choose.